before I get too carried away, I'm just going to say this. We don't build a lot of Nissan Patrols, but we definitely know a thing or two of building Land Cruisers. But even with that said, this particular Nissan Patrol has been with us for quite long. We have actually built it for instance, the first owner had it, and then now with the second owner being my brother. So a lot of people will say don't do family business, because like don't do a vehicle or don't do your family's vehicle, because there's always an issue or something comes up. So I mean this video will also talk about that, like how the relationship between me and my brother when he was building this car. So starting from the front, this car is equipped with a 16,500 pound winch from Kamap. I love the Kamap winches mainly because they have, I'm not sure if you guys know, but the thing that kills the synthetic ropes are normally heat. So a lot of winch brake mechanism is in the drum, and so they tend to heat up after a while. But whereas Kamap has theirs in the side, and of course you have the 8274 who has the mechanical brakes, but in the regular electric setup, the Kamap for me is very superior because the brakes are actually at the end, and I'm not sure of any other brand that does that. But yeah, unfortunately somewhere about 4 years ago, I think just before COVID, they changed distributorship, so I no longer use them anymore because spare parts have become a problem to find in Malaysia. And even with that being said, so the Nissan Patrol that I'm going to talk today, I'm in Peninsular Malaysia, so Sabah Sarawak guys have a lot better understanding about them because there's a lot more vehicles there, I would assume. But anyhow, I will try my best to not disappoint anyone. I think I know a thing or two as well about the Nissan Patrol. So next up, keep in mind this entire vehicle is 24 volt. So it's not just a starter that is 24 volt, it's the entire vehicle. Headlights, starter motor, blower, actuators, everything is 24 volt. So the winch is 24 volt as well. And this was another reason why the first owner sort of did not want to go very far with this car, was because he found the 24 volt system being a problem for him. Whereas my brother, when he took over, he sort of understood it, and by the time he took over, a lot of 24 volt items are readily available. I mean, even fridge, you can get them in running on 24 volt. So it's not really a problem anymore. We have the whole car running on 24 volt. There's no step down converter for anything. Even the audio is on 24 volt. And since the winch we talked about, it's actually hooked up to a TJM bumper. So the TJM bumper was something that came with the vehicle. We didn't do anything much to it but we did build the rails at the side, the fender rails, the side steps, and the rear bumper. So the rear bumper, if you notice, has a bulge solely because it has a 12,500 pound T-Max winch in it, and that's now our go-to winch for all our current builds. It was built initially to do some pretty hard wheeling when the first owner built it. But obviously, of course, the one biggest issue with Nissan Patrol here in Malaysia is getting parts. In the sense that, okay, the engine is no issue. The TD42 is a forklift engine, so you can get a lot of replacement engine parts for it. It's not a problem. And this car is an automatic, so it's a black top factory turbo automatic TD42. And what are the engine bits that we did with it? We put a electronic water pump from Davis Rake. That's something we run on both the TD42s and the 1KZ. So if you all know that the TD42 is known as the kettle, and the 1KZ just heats up and bends head without doing much. So both of these cars, normally we tend to run them on EWPs. A lot of people will say there's a lot of other ways to rectify the problem of overheating, but we have found this to be very effective in keeping the temperatures down, especially in Malaysia. We also have a much larger radiator fitted to it. For the cooling line will be that EWP. We did another 24 volt fan as well for the AC, and there's obviously a top mount turbo that we did. We did injectors, 12mm fuel pump, and yeah, the goal for this car was not to push too much power. And how we did that was we what we see here is a lot of people would lift it really high, the Nissan Patrols, and stick on big tires on it, but without changing ratios. And for me, ratios are one of the basic thing that has to be done in a four-wheel drive. Even before you do any other mods, look, you can do ratios first and then even do tires later. Like, that's fine, or even brakes. But ratios have to be done to match up whatever tire size that you're planning to run. So for this Nissan Patrol, it's running the Yukon gears, 5.13, if I'm not mistaken. I will correct it if I'm wrong, but 5.13. It doesn't have 4.88. It just goes straight away to 5.13. They have a factory 4.56 that comes with the ZD30 GU model. So those cars have a 4.56 from factory, but factory for this vehicle was 4.11, if I'm not mistaken. So going to 5.13, so you wanted to run 37-inch tires, so this was perfect for it. And being an automatic, you have to do ratios. If not, it becomes a very uncontrollable vehicle, especially when you're wheeling. And then even when you're on road, the gear shifts are just erratic. So yeah, ratios is something that we did. Another big thing that we did when we do tires as well is we look to upgrade the brakes. So for this car, those of you who know, the GQ comes with a single port caliper in the front. Look, it's not really an issue, but in order to you can get like nice rotors and aggressive friction pads for it from DBA. We do DBA on them, but for this vehicle we went a step further. We put in the TB48 brake booster, master cylinder, and front calipers. So the front calipers become twin port, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so they become a twin port, and I think this increases the brakes drastically. I am not sure how would it feel by just doing calipers and not doing the master cylinder. I don't think it works. I've tried it on other 4Bs as well. If you were to go with larger calipers, you just need the volume, and you need to do proportioning valve. You need to get that all done properly before you just go with a bigger caliper and assume that things are going to work. At least that's my take on it. And for suspension on this car, we have it's a mix. So it's a Kings with a 3-inch lift and STR shocks from Asli. I believe the owner's next mod would be probably just do up the entire suspension in one set, going to Dobinson, the MRR. So that will be probably one of the upgrades that he does. And then for the front, we have, besides the Yukon gears, obviously it's twin locked with ARB lockers. We also have the AVM hub locks in the front, and all the brake lines are either braided or they have been lengthened to suit the car's lift. And again, this is also something that should be done. Like, I see a lot would normally just, rather than extending the actual brake hose, they open the bracket and let the brake hose just hang, so that they get a bit more length on the brake hose rather than switching it out. But yeah, these cars are old, so it's almost 30 years. I think it is 30 years old. It's a 30-year-old vehicle, so you have to do this kind of things, where you have to get new brake lines, new seals, new hoses, new bushes. It's just without saying. And this car runs full Super Pro and paddles bushes all around. One thing I feel the GQ has a problem with is the sway bars in the front. They are like they're super thin. The links are super thin. I'm surprised the owner has not broken it yet, but yeah, that's an upgrade that we may be looking at, probably from white line to go with the more heavier duty sway bars. The rear sway bar was actually removed because the owner wanted a bit more flexed. I personally don't like it. I enjoy sway bars all around, because I always tell people that, like, I drive my vehicles to the track, to the start of the track, so I don't tow it. And with that, I like proper road handling. So sway bars are definitely needed for me. And yeah, so the rear brakes are still stock, but of course the pads and rotors that are being run on all this is padders for now. We may go to DBA in the future.
Yes.
Rear bar, I told you it's custom, but the tire carrier is actually from Kema. So it's a Kema tire carrier that we welded on to the bumper that we built. Has a ARB roof rack. Lights are mainly aux beam, and then Yeah, so what else do we have?
That's that.
Okay, so
Yeah.
coming back to the engine part, the biggest another issue with the GQs is the airflow. So the restricting factor would be the airbox. That's a mod that we have to do as well. We for now when we run the dynos, we do it without the airbox connected, but obviously that's not ideal. So airbox mod is something that we do next. And the thing is, with all the suggestion of mods that I gave the owner, who is my brother, he he actually trusted me full blown to build the car without much dramas. And I was worried at first. I wrote him up. I still write up, even though it's my brother, I still write him up a quotation, so to see if he's comfortable with it. And no questions asked, no, like, hey, it's can we go cheaper, or most, the only time, like, we if ever we come into this, once we get to the interior, whenever we had the thing, all he did was, oh, I think I need a bit more time to raise the funds, but so give me a bit more time, and then we get it sorted. And I think I couldn't have asked for anything better than that. Like, of course, he's already a pretty cool brother. We go camping quite a bit, but in a business relationship wise, he understands. He's in the automotive scene as well, but of course he works for someone. So it's much appreciative for me to have someone who can trust, at the same time not argue. Look, I obviously he's my brother, so labor wise I try to take it easy on him. But yeah, but so far it has been a pleasant journey building his vehicle. And with that being said, he actually picked up another really good friend's vehicle as well, Hilux Surf, which we would do a video on it soon. So he's planning to make the Nissan Patrol sort of make it now more into the overlanding, the long distance touring vehicle, and then make the Surf the play car. Just because of body wise, the issue with the Nissan Patrol in Malaysian tracks is it's very wide. The car is wide, and our tracks are one way in, one way out. We don't have the option of, like, go in and then come out from somewhere else, and it's all narrow, and it's you do a lot of panel damage, and you sort of can't avoid it. If you can't be chopping down trees just to avoid the panel damage. So with that being said, hence why he went into this. I mean, the Hilux Surf was something we built as well, quite long, and the owner was looking. It's a very good friend of mine as well. He was looking for it to go to a good home, and thankfully, I mean, my brother picked it up. He wants, and it's already ready to play. So we may be going out, I think, somewhere end of this year, soon, which is soon, and we see how that one goes. Let me see. Just for Nissan Patrol, to go into the interior. The interior is very simple. Like I said, it's a 24-volt car. You can't do much, in the sense that you can't have crazy amount of accessories. Like, you can't go online and just click. Everything you have to read and see, make sure it allows for 24-volt. So it's just a water pump. The EWP water pump monitor is in there, and controller, a couple of gauges to monitor temps. Seats, we actually removed all the back seats, and we built up a full platform where he has super long drawers to load his stuff. And the goal with it is, look, he has another daily car, so this car is just kept for waiting to go out in the weekend. So most of his stuff is just left in there. The only thing he loads up is his fridge, and I think he has a power bank I'm not sure if it's an EcoFlow power bank. So for a lot of people who ask me, should they build a dual battery system or just buy something like that, I say, if you have more than one vehicle that you go out with, you should have something more portable. Whereas those who just have a specific built vehicle for all, and have it for all purposes to only use that vehicle, then you can consider something built into the vehicle. I personally prefer building the entire system into the vehicle, so it's just one less thing to carry around and charge and whatnot, and as you drive you charge it. But again, each to his own. So that's just my take on it. Overall, this Nissan Patrol is pretty sick. We painted it. It was a army green color before, and this was from the owner, like, way before, like, even when the first owner got it like that. So we went with a simple, I would say it wasn't simple, it's a GTR white. So the Nissan GTR 35 R35 white. I have the color code somewhere there. And of course, the owner being playful, he has put the Toyota decals on it, which is funny because now he has a Toyota and it's also white, and that car doesn't have the Toyota decals on it. Anyhow, it's been a lovely process building this Nissan Patrol, although there's actually not much for us to do with it. It's you start it up and it goes. So currently it's on the 36 centipedes CSTs, but we are shifting that over to the Surf and we are putting it back on the 37s. That it's more road usage. Just an overall take for the Nissan. So any of you are looking to modify a Nissan Patrol, I strongly suggest the things that you look at is obviously the cooling system, and those of you who have automatic, the wiring harness for the TCU. So that's the only downside for it. And of course, if you're 24 volt, then you have to be careful checking those things. Another thing is also rust with the car, like the door hinges tend to break as well. I don't know. I think it's a factory issue. And but driveline wise, the Nissan Patrol, the GQ, whether it's GQ or GU, for me, the front axle at least, is far more superior than Land Cruiser 80 series or 105. Why? Is because if you know how the kingpin bearing sits on the 18th, so the tie rod end and the drag link, you sort of have it hooked up to that bolts on to the knuckle. So whereas the GQ, that piece is casted in, and with the 80, when it's being bolted on, as you drive and you go wheeling and things like that, it actually does come loose. And this is even if you put a tread lock or whatnot, it's something that you have to constantly check. And trust me, there are a lot of 80 series that just have the knuckle come out while they're wheeling. So the GQ and GU have a lot superior design in for me in this manner. The only downside for them would be the radius. They have the bullseye type. So I prefer the one that is on the 80, but I think Superior Engineering has a nice for it that you can convert it to the 80 series style radius arms. And for the back, the back, I think the 80 series axles would be a lot more better because they're full float, at least for me. So you can even upgrade the shafts on the 80. RCV has them, so that's the benefit of having the 80 series rear axle. But front wise, any day I would take a GQ or GU axle for being hardcore use, And I think that's all for now for the GQ. It's been fantastic to drive it. Once we put everything together, the top mount intercooler and all went in, and it just works. So there's not much more for us to do besides use it, and that's something the owner has to find time for. And my overall how my experience while building this car, I think it's awesome. I would like to do more GQs or even GUs. So let's see how does it go. Of course, the Land Cruisers are still my thing, but it's nice to from time to time build a different vehicle. I catch you guys on the next one where we do maybe either on the Hilux Surf or whichever other car that I'm building currently. Alright. Thank you guys so much for watching and also subscribing to all the social media channels that we have. I catch you guys on the next one. Thank you.